Ham, we obviously beat Leeds today 2-0 at the London Stadium. And on the balance of play, I would argue that West Ham deserved to win it. I thought we created some decent chances. I thought we possibly could have been a little bit more clinical. We could have made the game a lot more comfortable for ourselves. I guess before I get into the key moments and key incidences, of course, there are a few in this game. I think West Ham approached it really well tactically. I thought we controlled possession a lot better than I've seen us in previous weeks. I've even seen us at Ellen Road be a little bit naive in the first half. And the way that we set up today, in the mid-block, essentially, Declan dropping in at times to make a back three and collect the ball. Lanzini, again, offering what he does in terms of build-up play. I just felt that was crucial in West Ham building. The frustration clearly was, and I could feel it and I could completely see it, was the fact that West Ham were really failing to be either ambitious in breaking the lines and carrying the ball forward and hurting Leeds and asking them to commit players forward, or playing it into the likes of Mikel Antonio, Vlasic and Lanzini and trying to play through those lines. And that's where West Ham weren't really creating anything. But I think in terms of us looking comfortable, and I feel like we did look comfortable. Look, I can't sit here and say that playing Diop and Dawson and trying to play out from the back is the greatest thing in the world to watch. But I did feel today there was a little bit more composure. Yes, Dawson's distribution is poor at times. I can see what he's doing pretty much 95% of the time. He's picking it up on the right-hand side. And that has to improve, of course it does. But dropping in Lanzini, dropping in Declan Rice, of course, that would support things. Leeds looked dangerous on transition on the occasion that they did have chances. I think Dan James had a chance first half where he swung at it. But West Ham never really looked out of control, out of shape, which would be the key thing for me. We have looked out of shape at times over the past 2 game weeks, and it seems to me that there was better balance in that team. Really impressed, actually, in terms of West Ham's approach in the final third, and in particular, Bowen, Lanzini, and of course, Nikola, Vlasic. I felt that all of those players today, not only in terms of taking on Leeds United, committing bodies, but their ability to keep hold of the ball, I felt that was a lot better for West Ham. It didn't create so much of a basketball match that we see sometimes against Leeds. And for me, that's the evolution of West Ham and where we need to go. And I thought Vlasic was unbelievable, really did. And that says a lot, really. I think Bowen, again, was fantastic, but because of his consistency in terms of performances, that didn't necessarily stand out to me. Vlasic, again, I think probably did, because we're asking for a number 10. I think I've always said he's a different type of number 10 in terms of dealing with pressure a little bit better, committing bodies, driving and being direct and creating for himself. We saw that today. And that was really nice to see. I thought his link up with Lanzini at times in the first and second half was absolutely superb. Both of them comfortable in possession. I think sometimes maybe you look at Manuel as the only number 10 that can drop deep, pick up the ball and hold and retain possession. I thought Vlasic showed that he could do that with his strength. And having those two players allowed West Ham, for me, to maintain a little bit of a better shape defensively, but also hurt Leeds in their final third. And listen, first half, we'll get to the incident, of course, the Lanzini goal and the breakdown of it. Now, Leeds fans are aggrieved because Bowen is offside. I don't really want to get into the minutiae of the rules because I really don't understand them. So that's something for the comment section to comment on. From my perspective, from what I've read and what I can see, Bowen is interfering with the play because he's in front of Meslier. If you're a Leeds fan, maybe looking at it and say Meslier is not decisive enough in terms of collecting the ball, that there may be a question mark there. It may be completely irrelevant because maybe they felt that it was offside anyway. The thing I would say about it is that I could live with. That if that's a dodgy decision, that is what it is. Fair play to Manuel Lanzini for at least, again, positionally being in the right place. And I think he showed that over the course of the 90 minutes. Vlasic, for me, I think it's Helder gets very, very close to him, very tight to him. Leeds did that a lot today. And of course, they are going to do that in that man-to-man pressing system. And I felt that there was an argument for Vlasic to get a penalty anyway beforehand. So that's where I feel maybe it's evened itself up. That's just my opinion. You can have yours. I'm not too afraid with the rules. But if I've seen what I've seen and I've read what I've read, yeah, it's the wrong decision. But maybe Vlasic should have had a penalty. Maybe West Ham could have scored. I still felt we were a better team. Still felt we looked relatively comfortable. And the second half was slightly different, I feel, in terms of tempo. I think West Ham were even more conservative than we were in the first half. There was a real good shape, I feel, to Declan Rice and to Thomas Souček. I think there were a lot of interceptions. We asked Leeds questions in terms of playing out from the back. We see Llorente moving into midfield on a number of occasions. And West Ham were very comfortable with that, turning over possession, creating attacks. And even when we moved in the transition, we didn't really commit too many bodies forward, if I'm honest, on the counter. If West Ham were going to try and create something in the final third, for me, it was very controlled. We dictated the possession from that point of view. Fredericks has a chance. I thought Fredericks today, interestingly, I think Fredericks has improved defensively. I think the way that he read the ball in the second half in terms of intercepting it was great. I still think there's a lack of quality in terms of end product. If you're breaking it down, he's still a third choice right back. And again, if he squares it to Rice, he squares it to Bowen, we're not in the situation. At the same time, there are a few players today that had a number of opportunities. Again, Jarrod Bowen, one-on-one with a keeper on his right foot. Maybe he can get it further into that corner and finish it off. But I don't really want to criticise Bowen at all because the moments that I'm seeing him now in terms of hold-up play, keeping the ball, his work rate, positionally fantastic on that right-hand side in protecting Fredericks at times, which was important towards the end of that second half, given Leeds were pushing forward their fullbacks a little bit more. They were going back to what I've seen from last season. Forshaw comes on again, trying to dictate the play in that sense and build and provide a bit of stability. I thought West Ham managed that situation well. And I just, the goal at the end is because they've committed too many men forward. What I would say about this, and what I really liked about the goal was, yes, there's a breakdown in play. And like I say, I don't think West Ham committed too many players forward in that second half. But Antonio's done well to carry the ball. I thought he fatigued second half. I thought he looked decent in the first half. I think the one thing I'd say about Antonio, just on a side note, is I prefer it in games where he's at least competitive in the 1v1 duels. I thought he was competitive. There's question marks over his end product. That can be a concern. At times he's not clinical enough. Perhaps he's not making the right choice. At the same time, he's still active in that. And against Leeds, you look at their two centre-backs, how aggressive they were. He had to be. And so by him doing that in the first half and at points in the second, he was still clutch. And that's where Antonio has improved. He's still clutch in games. And the fact that he's made the run, he's committed the play. I thought the Leeds defender did quite well in terms of keeping him at bay and stopping him from cutting inside. Bowen's done magnificently because he's made that run from deep. West Ham haven't committed 3 or 4 like we've seen in the past and overload on the counter. We only committed a few players today and we were conservative. But Bowen, the composure to pick up the ball, it's not a great pass. If I'm honest, he's stretching for it. Put it through Melier's legs. He just gets better and better, Jarrod Bowen, for me. There's never been a concern over me. I've said 1,000 times, credit in the bank regarding work rate, credit in the bank positionally, protecting the right back as he does. For me, where he excels is his composure now in front of his goal, the ability to create chances. I'm loving the fact that now he's coming in central and there's that interplay between him, Vlasic, Lanzini. West Ham look better. And we look better in possession. It's not a case anymore of making runs off the ball, which we are good at and we do have in our locker. Today, we saw a different look. We saw players that were fantastic in keeping possession and creating from that point. And that gives West Ham balance going forward. And that's something that we need to look at. We talk about it regularly in terms of West Ham evolving as a team. That's where you want to be. And you see it from Areola and distributing that to the fullbacks. That's where West Ham want to go. I thought he did well today. I will say on Issa Diop, by the way, I'm a person that's quite critical, actually, of him. And I feel quite rightly so. I'll call him when I think he's been good. I've never questioned his physical attributes. No one really in the West Ham fan base has. It's been his decision-making, how decisive he is. What's crazy to me, and if you're Issa Diop and you're sitting in the training room and Moyes puts it on, particularly second half, you say, that's what he can do. He wasn't tested for me in terms of, Leeds aren't really a team that are going to put crosses into the box regularly. He's going to have to deal in terms of his space between him and Dawson, but he has to get into shape and he has to make decisions very quickly, particularly with Craig Dawson, who we know isn't the most mobile, that can get dragged out into areas. I thought Diop was much more decisive. And when he's more decisive, he has the pace, he has the strength to win the ball. No one's asking Issa Diop to play out from the back. I don't feel that West Ham are there in terms of both the centre-backs in doing that. Hence why Lanzini's dropping, hence why Declan Rice is picking the ball up. Declan had a good game again today. But that's what they need to get in terms of the bread and butter. And I was really happy. There was a moment in the second half. Dawson's dragged to the right-hand side. And Diop's covered for him. Diop can cover for him. Diop recognises the danger. It's just whether he's decisive enough to go and deal with it. And that's all really anyone wants to see from Diop. I felt the shape helped it. Of course it did. The shape helped both of them. But you got to give credit where it's due. And I think Diop does deserve credit for that second half. But it was a good game of football in terms of West Ham and getting the result in the fourth round even. Get ahead of myself. We've got Kidderminster Harriers, which should be an interesting game away from home. And listen, I still think it's a big week for us. I do. I think there's opportunities here to get victories, to chalk up points. I look at this month as vital in doing that. I think you've got Manchester United on the 22nd. It's a game that West Ham could conceivably go and get a result from. And we're staying in the picture and we're staying in around 6th, 5th and 4th. And we've got the transfer window, which fingers crossed, we try and make some kind of movement in. And we've got the rest of the season to enjoy. But there's definitely been, and I think from a performance point of view, not as much of a roller coaster, a little bit more controlled. real quality from the number 10s and the inside forwards, and even Antonio at times getting on the half turn and creating space for himself. So yeah, really happy with the performance. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Like I always say, check out the Patreon account. There will be a link in the description below. Please check that out because of course it is the transfer window. If you are going to get any rumors, then X and Dave will tell you first, and that will be reliable. We need a little bit of reasonableness, if you can even call it that, level-headedness in that sense. So hopefully we see some news coming soon. I think it's £5 a month and you get all the interviews and the news as well, and team news before the games. I'll be back. I'm not sure when. I could do a preview for Norwich. I'll see how I feel. I'll talk about transfer rumours-ish. I don't want to get into the minutiae of it purely because I don't feel there's enough concrete for me yet. I think that's been proven with the Barbosa rumour. So I'll leave it at that. Take care. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, of course, if you are interested in more of this stuff. And I will see you